My name is Brennan Fitzpatrick. I'm a figurative painter in Hong Kong. I was brought on to paint the deans starting with Sir Patrick Manson and finishing with Professor C.S. Lau, to try and represent each of the deans as not only the character and history that we know them for, but also the human side of them. When I first started trying to understand the likeness, I'd be making lots of small sketches of each of the deans. Oil paint is all about layers, and then I'll slowly build up the layers. More detail in areas that I want the eye to be naturally drawn towards, and less detail to the parts of the painting like the background or the supporting act. And all of these frames are on the same wall in a salon-style hang. Like a jigsaw puzzle, there's this smorgasbord of different framing styles that allow a flow, a bit like a gorgeous album that you can listen to, with some big crescendos around pieces that really require the eye to lend their attention to them, and then some more subtle pieces as well that decide to take the back seat so that you can kind of allow your eye to continue gliding onwards. I've put Sir Patrick Manson in a lounge suit appropriate for the period. Scotsman who loved the country, with a green sort of flannelly, tweedy colouring, as well as a very urban man living in Hong Kong. With Sir Patrick Manson's background, I've created this etching of a study of these mosquitoes. I couldn't help but be fascinated by his understanding of what would then become to be proven as the mechanism in which malaria is spread through mosquitoes. I felt like I needed to pay special attention to Professor Young's portrait, especially because she was the first female dean. I thought it was best to represent her a real seat of power on the wall, with these glinting eyes, this head tilted slightly down as though she's ready to tackle any issue and any challenge that's going to obstruct her path. The first sitting that Professor Lowen came in for, I mapped out the ideas of the composition with a canvas alongside him, marking out where he was entering the canvas. Actually, the composition that we ended up choosing would be more evocative for this post-COVID timeline that we're all inhabiting right now. This monochromatic balance with the flesh tones was the best way to really support this medical coat that we've put him in, that is really meant to hark at his role that we've all seen him. When I first met Professor C.S. Lau, I felt like I was meeting someone who was decisive and a man of action. He struck me as not only a compassionate man, but also an extremely level-headed man. One that didn't seem to be shaken even by the largest challenges that life can throw at us. I wanted to paint him as a pragmatic man, so I chose to paint him with his jacket on. I quite liked as well that he asked his wardrobe consultant, being his wife, as to what items would be best to wear. So I know that this yellow bow tie is one of his favorites. I've also included a watch that is quite sentimental to him and his family, and I wanted to show that he was a man that's been part of the institution for a while. So we can see how the background almost creeps into the folds of his shirt, which I think is just quite a nice subtle nod. After having painted these 32 individuals, I really had a chance to immerse myself in the history of Hong Kong U. There feels like there is no idealizing this history that I've got the privilege to see. It's just these characters that have all played their part, that have all helped to move this one step forward.